All right, welcome back to another Dimension. I'm Quinn.
Hey, Quinn. I'm Trask.
I'm Taylor.
Hey, Taylor.
Hey.
So this week we are going to have a little short blip, some recap of our past episodes, because I'm going on spring break. So,
Where are you going?
Nowhere. So this will be the best of
The best of the best podcast in Kaukauna.
the best podcast in Kaukauna. I like that. So sit back, relax, enjoy, and thanks for listening.
One thing to add on that, too, after this week's episode, we are going to be changing our release schedule to Monday mornings at 10 a.m. Like and subscribe and continue to follow, and we hope you enjoy this week.
An eventful week in trucking, huh?
I guess. Apparently down in Georgia.
Yeah. That's nuts.
Started out
In Savannah,
Georgia.
Georgia. Is there another Savannah?
I'm sure there is.
There has to be.
There's a Havana. That's in Cuba. But in Savannah, a truck driver basically lost his mind, went to the town hall in Savannah, parked his semi on the sidewalk. Which reminds me, I almost got parked into a building one time.
Yeah.
Stripped naked, started dancing on the city hall's steps,
courtyard? Okay.
courtyard, went on a rant up and down the road, and then got in his truck and drove away.
And does anybody know why he did this?
So the article says he was mad about something to do with his ex-wife, or a big or in the article.
And or.
And was it and or?
I'm
Something
guessing
like that.
And.
Someone who works at the city or the town hall, or a combination of the both. But also, he was going to the city hall to get his child support squared away, so they didn't revoke his CDL. Well, after this guy took off, they caught him like 100 miles away in this semi under the influence of drugs, still naked.
Of course.
And where was I going with this? Oh, they cited him with a terrorist act, DUI, driving without a valid license, impeding traffic,
And parking on a sidewalk
and
or something.
parking on a sidewalk.
Wow.
Have you ever had a day that bad where you're like, hey, I'm going to hop in my truck, get naked, and just tell the
Just
world
ride.
what's going on?
Just ride. No.
Out on the East Coast, the eastern seaboard, ranging from Florida all the way up to upstate, Maine, all that kind of stuff, because they can't get fuel. They're allowing people certain amounts of fuel a day, and
Due to the hurricane?
I don't know exactly how this happened, but I read an article saying that the U.S. is exporting record amounts of fuel every day, 11.2 million barrels of fuel, and I think there's 44 gallons in a barrel, if I remember right, something like that. But they can't get the trucking from the refinery down in the Gulf out to the East Coast. They're struggling to find trucking to get it there. So imagine what that does to a trucking operation or a school bus
Isn't there like
operation.
a pipeline or something?
I don't know. I don't know anything about that, but
There's,
Thankfully-
there's somebody's next business venture.
a pipeline,
Or some trucks down there.
right? I don't get it. How can we put a man on the moon and not figure out how to have enough fuel in certain places? What are your thoughts?
You don't want to know my thoughts.
Let's hear 'em. Let's hear them.
No, I don't know. I think at times some
We can
of
check
it
explicit.
is no. I think at times some of it is created, and yeah, it's
Created
just
by who? The government?
maybe big
The
oil
Big oil.
suppliers. I don't
Okay.
know.
I can see that. But to what benefit? Because they're
they're-
not selling the fuel. What? I
Yeah,
guess,
but they're raising the price. I would guess.
yeah.
You don't really see a food shortage, right? The trucks are still getting the food to the East Coast, and that's coming from
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, other than produce, really.
Yeah.
And like almonds out of Georgia, like I don't think anything else is produced over there. I don't know. If that actually happens, someone should be thrown in jail.
I guarantee it happens.
I know it happens, but why is it allowed?
Big money. Hush
Taxes,
money. Yeah.
campaign money.
I did not hear that, so I'm kind of surprised by that.
Yeah. John brought it up like a week ago. Remember he came in? I thought he was kidding.
Well, he said his brother-in-law said it, and he asked us if we heard about it.
Yeah.
He's sure this is real.
100%. Well, I guess I don't know. I saw it on the internet. But I didn't check the sources. But it was on Transport Topics.
Oh,
So I would assume
pretty
it
legit.
probably is legit. Yeah. I don't know. It's weird.
only on the East Coast.
Only on the East Coast right now. But take this into perspective. If they can't find trucking from the Gulf to the East Coast, why are they not saying, hey, we'll pay you double or triple or quadruple to take some of your trucks that are running, they're probably not running to Texas because there's oil fields there, but north or wherever, and saying, hey, you guys need to help us out right now. Help us get through this. Wouldn't you think that would happen?
Yeah, and I think, we're in the dairy state. Look at milk. Milk used to stay local.
Yep.
Now they truck it all over the place. Michigan was a hotbed for a long time.
Well, they just put up that like super farm out there too. Remember that? Like 2 or 3 years ago?
Super farm or super milk processing
yeah.
plant. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we've shipped milk out of here all over. But I don't know. I don't know why I thought that was interesting. I did, but
It is. I guess you'll have to keep an eye on it.
we will.
Okay.
With the good in trucking, there's also bad. The worst day I ever had was a Saturday morning. It was probably 6-7 years ago. We had a driver on a 110-foot long pipe going down to Texas for a local customer here.
Not quick transport.
No, not
Yeah.
while I was working here.
Okay.
It's been nothing but good days since I've been here.
You're full of it.
But so it's probably 5, 6, 7 years ago. I don't remember exactly. And it was a Saturday morning. And at this time of my life, I was 23, 24 years old. And all was well. I went out with my buddies the night before and I was hung over real bad. And I get a call from the police department in Normal, Illinois. And they're like, do you work at so-and-so? I'm like, yes, I do. One of your trucks was found on the side of the road, completely burnt to the ground. And I'm like, what? Like, is the driver okay and everything? And they're like, yeah. He got out. Well, what happened was there was an electrical shortage under the hood somewhere. And the truck just melted through the hood and started on fire as he was going down the road. So the whole thing was on fire, and he didn't notice it until the flames were coming out of the hood. Pulled it off to the side of the road and tried to get the extinguisher to put this thing out. So I'm just picturing this driver like fighting this huge fire in this truck with this extinguisher, and ended up not getting it out. Well, he ended up getting it unhooked, and they actually pulled the trailer back with some other piece of equipment to get it away from the truck. Maybe the fire truck that was there or something. But yeah, the whole truck burned to the ground. I'll have pictures.
And he didn't call you? Or his phone was in the
This
fire?
was at like he lost his phone. Yeah.
And he was
all
fine?
of his clothes. He was perfectly fine. We got him back home, and I think we rented him a truck to get him back home. The load sat there, and I had to so now I'm hungover, and I have to thankfully the driver's okay, right? So my next call is our safety lady. So I call her. She's like, "Oh my God, what?" Whatever, So and you know who I'm talking about. So you can picture the reaction, and all in all, all's well, right? And everyone's safe. That's the major thing. So now comes the dreaded phone call to the customer. So I make a call.
Hold on. Where were you? Illinois?
No, I was at my house.
On Saturday?
Me?
With
personally?
With a 100-foot piece?
Yeah, Normal, Illinois, Saturday morning. I think, I don't remember. I think you could travel.
Was he supposed to be there?
I don't know.
Okay.
Before, I don't know if we could or not. But I know for a fact it was a Saturday morning.
Okay.
Like I said, before our time here. And so now I have to call this customer. And I call them. I'm like, hey, Adam, we got a problem. He goes, what? Because there was some kind of time crunch on this. I don't remember. And I'm like, you're not going to believe this. And he goes,
did the truck break down? I said, well, yeah. Kind of. I mean, it completely burnt to the ground. And he goes, what? And so I'm like, yeah, like I just got a call from the cops. The driver lost his phone and everything in the fire. Like, I don't know what's going on, but I'll have to keep you in line. But imagine like just the chain of command you have to tell. I mean, it was horrible.
Didn't you have a driver?
Hit a bridge? Yeah, we had
Driver
that
hit
too.
a bridge.
That was a long time ago.
Didn't you have a driver take a truck through the woods?
Oh, I forgot about that.
Like
you want to hear
brand new-
that?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So this was also before I was here. We had
That was these were some
these happen at every
things-
company.
Yeah, these are some things that happen with growth.
Yeah,
When
absolutely.
when you're pushing a little hard.
And we were,
Yeah.
but man, I forgot about that one. We hired a new guy. I forget his name, so don't have to worry about it. Let's call him Bob. And Bob came in for a job interview, got all of his stuff done, hired, drug screening, everything's good. Takes a load out of Manitowoc down to Abilene, Texas. Gets empty in Abilene. Calls me at the pickup, which was somewhere in Texas, I don't remember, going over to Michigan. And at this time, like early in the morning, he goes, hey, and he kind of said something off. I don't remember exactly what he said, but it was something along the lines of, I'm pretty sure my ex-wife is following me. I'm like, is that okay? Like, she's all the way down in Texas and whatever. Nothing came of it. He was perfectly fine. I'm like, okay, as long as you're okay, like, let me know if you need any help. And day goes on, nothing wrong. Well, he was supposed to be delivering in southern Wisconsin. So, like, the next day I checked on him, and he was still in track on his way back up. All good. He called in, talked to him a little bit. Now the story is, like, I'm pretty sure the FBI is bugging me.
Oh.
So I'm like, what? So I got safety involved again, and we talked to him, and everything was fine. And he was afraid to get out of his truck at the truck stop because he thought that people were going to take him. So he had to call the police.
So was he like having a mental breakdown?
Yeah, but this was before e-logs happened, so we couldn't track him. Like, we didn't know where the truck was. So he had a mental break, a psychotic break, and thought the FBI was following him, and ended up in Michigan when he's supposed to be in Wisconsin. We could not find him. This happened maybe a Thursday or Friday. We got a call Tuesday saying they found our truck.
Was it loaded yet?
Loaded.
Okay.
I'll get to that.
Yeah.
The truck was like 350 yards down a logging trail in the middle of Michigan. They found our driver walking down the trail back towards like the road in his underwear, one sock on. And the cops are like, hey, is that your truck down there? He goes, no, I'm out here turkey hunting. He didn't have a gun, didn't have anything. So he was just messed up in the head, like lost it completely while out on the road. We get him back. They pull the truck out. Not one of the pieces shifted off the trailer, completely secured. Truck is mangled. He slept the night under the truck. They brought him to the hospital, and we called his family. They went over to get him, and he escaped the hospital.
Oh my goodness.
And at that point, we're like, hey, it is what it is. That truck had like 20,000 miles on it.
Was it trashed?
It was completely totaled.
Yeah.
What do you want to hit?
The CDL scandal. I think it's crazy.
Go ahead.
In California, 20 people were indicted on a fraudulent CDL scheme. They were bribing DMV workers and transportation schools. They didn't say this, but I'm assuming they were trucking company owners.
Yeah, or maybe like a trucking company school.
Well, the school was getting bribed as well.
Oh.
In at least the article I read. But anyway, they were bribing people and giving out fake CDLs. And
Can you imagine?
they said hundreds.
You being the owner of a company,
Yeah.
knowing that was going on.
Well, they were probably making the bribes.
Well, I get that, but like, how do you knowingly let someone pull 80,000 pounds down the road?
Because they don't see it. Because they don't see it.
They don't care.
They don't see it.
I would be a nervous wreck.
Yes. But how many companies like that go out of business and start again?
Hundreds, thousands.
Daily.
Yep. Different MC number, different location. Now the wife owns it.
Yep.
Now the brother owns it.
Yep. They just keep running.
Yep.
And they run bad operations, not legal operations, and they put the public in jeopardy of getting
Safety.
hurt. Yeah. And it's stupid.
Just this week, I think they found a semi burning in Detroit on the side of the road. The driver abandoned the semi and lit it on fire. Got pissed off.
Because he didn't.
Well, I don't know.
Just because he was upset.
Yeah, but that was random. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
but
Did they say how long this has been going on for?
I
The
don't
scandal.
recall.
No.
They just said hundreds of CDLs were issued, so they would just
years.
here's
here's $100 or $200, and
this guy needs a
like
CDL.
the DMV was in on it. The schools were in on it. They were taking failing people and making them pass.
yeah,
And this is in what state?
California.
None other.
Shocker.
None other than the land of the double brokering scheme that was going on.
Yeah, there's a lot of schemes out there.
Nothing good. There's some things that are good come out of California, but like transportation wise, it is a pain point.
Why is that?
I don't know.
Okay, just curious.
Is that safe to say? I'm sorry if I pissed anyone
Well,
off.
you guys do it every
I
day.
think that
It's so big, so many
well,
people.
that happens everywhere. I mean,
Yeah.
I would be willing to bet that Chicago's got some of that stuff.
Oh,
and I'm
yeah.
not pinpointing big cities. It could happen in Wausau, Wisconsin.
Yep.
But it seems more prevalent in those areas.
Just because of the sheer volume, I think.
Maybe being funded by something else too.
Maybe. I didn't think of that.
And maybe somebody has protection and just this is what we're going to do. And
Yeah. I need this moved. I need this moved, and this is how I'm going to get it done.
you never know.
Yep.
But that's scary, and it's another black eye for the trucking industry, I guess.
Well, and not to count like all the other numerous things that come on, like that are less than moral in the industry, and they're happening as close to a couple miles away from here.
Yeah, there's a lot of games people play.
I don't get it. In this day and age, it's not if, it's when.
What you're alluding to is, I'm assuming,
Getting
is
caught.
hours. And hours of service regulations and
Yeah.
maybe drug testing violations. I don't know, but
Or having a guy turn in an application and starting the same day.
that happens.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
We had a guy apply the other day. Said he's running 3,900 miles a week,
And not
Ho-
leaving 5 states.
not leaving 5 states, and home every weekend.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
just under 800 miles a day.
Legally, you could probably do 650. We've had guys legally do more.
And
but
he's not dropping and hooking.
Yeah, and not in that type of work. You're not loading in and out of steel mills. You're not loading. Man,
And
he's
he
probably running 20 hours a day.
and he was told when he runs out of hours, log in as something else.
Yep.
They have e-logs. Wow. But I guess my stance is if you have to do that to make a living, I think you need to look in the mirror and why are we doing this?
Yeah.
All it takes is one, and then you've got to live with that for the rest of your life.
Well, and does it matter to those type of people? Or do they not see it as a big problem? Is that how they see the trucking industry? I guess it's definitely not the way I
Some of those
see it.
people, I would think, would look at it as, hey, I'm helping my customer. Or as a business owner, hey, I'm providing this employee with the opportunity to make as much money as they want. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going through their minds. It's just not our way of thinking.
Well, and I don't think it's the majority of the way of thinking anymore.
would hope
Back in
so.
the day,
Oh, yeah. I
I
mean,
mean, some of those stories are crazy.
yeah.
Like,
But the regulations were different.
Yep.
And,
The times were different.
yeah,
Like,
safety,
wasn't important back then.
let's be honest. Yeah.
I'm people are going to hate me for saying that, but nowadays if you are negligent in safety, they are going to throw the book at you. Nuclear verdicts, all of those
The
kinds of things.
ramifications weren't as great as they are today.
Correct. It was a
And-
slap on the wrist back in the day.
Yeah.
Now it is jail time.
Do you know what a deck of cards is
52. It's
in
52.
trucking terms?
No.
So I want to try to get this right. Back in the day, you would need a chauffeur's license in. I don't know if you would need a chauffeur's license in every state, but guys had a chauffeur's license in every state.
Oh,
They had a P.O. box in Nevada or
they
whatever.
had different
So they
CDLs.
had different licenses. And if I got caught doing 100 miles an hour in Colorado and they yanked my license, well, I'll just run on my.
I'll run on my Florida license.
Yeah.
Actually,
That's true.
So, not to mention, a driver that I've had a past with had some guy that ran a farm that had a CDL that was his co-driver. And he never rode with them. He just filled out the logs and had the guy sign them and mail them in from a different address back in the day. Like, what the heck? Thankfully, you can't get away with that anymore. There's cameras everywhere.
Guys used to turn California every single week from here.
Yeah.
What's that, 4,500 miles?
It depends on where your reload is.
But
Yeah. Through the weather
every
in the winter.
single week.
Can you imagine doing that?
And there were guys that did that their entire career. Like,
Anything else?
No, you
Was
got
that
any,
crazy?
got any other killer jokes?
Not really.
I heard a really long one on the radio this morning.
Do you remember it?
I could piece it together.
Do it. Try it.
So this guy was, so this guy bought a Cadillac, and he was telling this other gentleman about it. So he's like, "Yeah, I've got this Cadillac. It's got these leather seats. It's got these power windows. It's got a fridge in the back. It's got Wi-Fi. It's got it drives on its own."
That's pretty cool.
And actually, I think the guy was buying something, right?
Okay.
So he's telling the gentleman about his new car, and he pulls some money out of his pocket, and it was like $5.17. I think that was what they used. So he gives him the $5, and he's digging his pocket for change, and he pulls out the change, and in there was some change and some golf tees, and the guy says to he asks him, what are the wood things in your hand? He goes, "Well, those are where I set my balls when I drive." And the guy says, "Well, Cadillac's thought of everything." Sorry.